don't know how to make it, well, this video is just for you. I have two delicious varieties of how you can make birria in just under a couple of minutes. If you go to work and put it in the crock pot will do all the work for you. So if you want to see how to make birria, keep watching till the end. Welcome to another episode of How Do You Love? And in today's episode, we are making fast and easy birria. We're gonna let our crock pot do all of the work. So far, I've chopped and removed some of the fat from my beef chuck roast. In Spanish, you say diezmillo. And so I have about 6 pounds of diezmillo or beef chuck roast in my crock pot already. And I've chopped it into like medium-sized pieces, see? And I'm not too worried about the rest of the fat, only because the crock pot's doing all the work. It's gonna be in there for 6 to 8 hours, and I'm gonna be able to clean the meat and remove the fat on my own once it's done boiling. So I'm gonna add water to cover the meat, the surface of the meat, and a little bit more. And then I wanna do something a little bit different. So to start off, the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my bay leaves. So for this recipe, the ingredients you will need are the ones you see here. I went to my local Cardenas and I got this packet. It's pickling spices, and in Spanish it says especias mixtas. And so it comes with the bay leaves. I'm gonna add 3 bay leaves to my crock pot. I'm going to add 6 chiles California. I'm gonna toast these on the side. So everything that's gonna be toasted is gonna go on my comal over here, okay? So 6 chiles California, 2 chile guajillos to give it that balance. And sometimes I boil these ingredients in a separate pot, but today I'm running short on time, so I want to toast them instead. And I got a little piece of a chile cascabel because I like to be creative and I like the flavor that it gives. In this packet, it also has these little chiles. These are chiles japoneses. So I went ahead and got 1, 2, 3, about 5 chiles of the small chiles that come in the packet, and I'm putting them in there. So depending on how much of the pickling you want in the flavor of your meat in every bite, that's how much pickling spices you're gonna be adding. This is how much I'm adding. And this is gonna be something that I'm gonna toast. And again, this is not gonna take a long time to toast. So I'm gonna wait till towards the end of my meat cooking process to start toasting my chiles and my spices. In my pot, I'm gonna put about 1/4 of a yellow onion. I'm gonna add 7 peeled garlic cloves, and that's intentional. They're peeled and they're going in my meat to flavor my meat, but they're also going in my meat in this pot to be boiled because I'm gonna use this in my sauce when I blend it. I'm gonna use the onion that's in here, and I'm also gonna use the broth and the garlic. So you wanna keep that in mind. So I've already added water, and it's covering, it's up to here, the water's up to here in my crock pot. And to this, I'm going to be adding salt and my staple seasonings. Garlic powder, onion powder, and garlic salt. And that's it. So I'm gonna let it boil on high for 6 to 8 hours. Okay, so my broth and my meat have been cooking for about 5 hours in my crock pot. I set the timer for 10, I changed my mind. I actually like to leave it to cook as long as possible. Sometimes I've cooked it for up to 12 hours, 16 hours. So you can make the chile in 2 ways. The first way, I'm gonna link a video here so that at the very end so that you can see the first way. But the first way is that you make the chile sauce and you put it on your raw meat and you let it marinate overnight. That's the way that I typically make it. And this is the second way. So I just finished toasting my spices, my pickling spices on the comal, along with my chiles, and I have all of those ingredients in here. And what I like about the method I'm using today to make the birria is that I'm using the broth. And I'm using this much, which is about 3 cups, because why not? There's a bunch in there. And I'm using the onion that was in the pot along with the garlic cloves that were boiling in there. I just tasted the broth. It's so important for you to taste your broth so you can know how you want to season your birria sauce. right? So, and it tastes amazing, by the way. It just has this amazing flavor. I'm not sure if it's coming from the, I think you say it, bay leaves. I'm not sure if it's coming from that or from everything that we put in there, but it tastes amazing already. So I'm only gonna gently season. So you season to your preference, and we like a lot of garlic. And a little bit of salt, onion powder, and garlic powder. So I'm gonna blend this on high. So I blended my sauce on high for about 2 minutes. So you can blend in your Vitamix for 1 to 2 minutes. I just tasted it and it tastes pretty good. The only thing is that it's a little bit spicy. I can taste all the spices, which is perfectly fine, because you want to consider that in here you already have liquid up to here, just about. And so you're going to be mixing this in, and you can mix this in slowly and see how much of the sauce you need and see how you want to adjust the seasoning. You can always add more seasoning. So right now I'm good with the way that my sauce is, even though it doesn't taste perfect yet. So I want to show you my pour, because I want you to see that I am not straining and there are no lumps in my sauce. So that's how much I'm going to start off with, and I'm going to give it a little mix. One time I took my birria to work and everyone was talking about how amazing it was because it was like fall off the bone tender, and that's because it was in my crock pot for 12 hours that time. I was so excited. So now we're gonna give it a little taste and make any adjustments. Okay, you guys, so I ended up adding all of the chile sauce into my pot. I tasted it. It still needed all of the seasonings you see here. The salt, the garlic powder, the garlic salt, and the onion powder. So I added the amount I like in here, so you can season to taste. I'm giving it a little mix, and I'm gonna set my timer again for another 5 hours. Ideally, I'll have it cooking in here for about 10 to 12 hours. That would be my ideal, so that it could be fall off the bone birria that everyone in your family will love. And you know, when you think about it, you can make all kinds of things with birria. You can make birria tacos. You can make birria quesadillas. You can make birria tortas. Those are one of my favorites. So be creative and think of how you're going to use your birria in your next dish. I told you could be creative. So I ended up making a quesadilla, and I ended up deciding that I was going to dip my tortillas in the broth. A lot of people do that, and I love the way that it looks, and I can't wait to have my family taste it. It tastes amazing. It gives the tortilla a nice flavor and a nice crunch. All I did was got my tortilla, dipped it in the broth, and then put it on my comal, or you could put it on a pan and flip it on both sides and let it get a little hard on both sides so that you can have more flexibility. Let me show you an up close video picture. So as you can see, I poured a little bit of broth in my taco, and I added cilantro and onion and lime. So I'm really excited to hear how much you love the quesadilla or the torta, whatever you decide to make.